Pretty nice today. 62 degrees. It's about 8:20.
Heading back to school, many have decisions to make, like whether to take choir or theater. But some schools are expanding their offerings to make room for art that reflects students' cultural heritage. Cap Radio's Srishti Prabha reports from Sacramento, California.
Very good. Wow. Okay, who remembers how many beats is this? 10.
It's a spring morning at Del Paso Manor Elementary School, and the 10 and 11-year-olds in the class are sitting cross-legged on the floor as Janan Priyan Levine teaches them the tabla, a pair of drums played in the Middle East and South Asia.
I like tabla because it's played in our home country, and I wanted to go back in our country and then play for some people who are inspired to do tabla.
That's student Rustam, whose family recently came here as refugees from Afghanistan. We aren't using his last name because his father still fears for his family's safety. Rustam's younger sister Hosai is also in the tabla class.
My mom always wanted to do that, but she didn't get a chance to. So I wanted to teach her.
For both Hosai and Rustam, these tabla lessons have helped create a sense of belonging in a foreign country. A 2019 study from Rice University found this approach can lead to better educational outcomes and improve social and emotional health for students. But those benefits can be hard to tap into when so much of arts education focuses on Eurocentric culture that diverse student populations have difficulty relating to.
Our children and our students are the vessels of their culture.
Kevin Kane runs a UCLA program that encourages performing artists to work in local classrooms. He says, in his line of work, the conversation around arts education has progressed from just access to the arts.
What we've really been leaning into is culturally sustaining. It does involve immigration or migration stories or exile stories. does involve what it means to be a marginalized or underrepresented person, historically discriminated against person. It involves all of that.
Hosai and Rustam's dad, who we're calling by his first initial R, finds a joy in the cultural connection his children get to make in their Sacramento school.
It definitely makes me a lot happier because the time that I really wanted to learn one of the musical instruments, time did not help me.
He has fond memories of the tabla playing at family gatherings back in Afghanistan, but he never got a chance to learn how to play himself.
So I really want my kids to either play tabla or other musical instruments as they love to do.
But without arts education, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for hip-hop, I'd probably be incarcerated or probably not being in the life that I really want.
Alex Almaraz is a teaching artist who leads hip-hop classes in Sacramento City Unified Schools as part of a collaboration with the nonprofit Clara.
And then there was other dancers that really brought life to the culture, right? It was not just him that created the movie.
Almaraz's passion for the arts stems from LA's dancing, where he continues to pursue street dance and has lectured at colleges. He says his work with public school students has been life-changing.
To be able to be an individual like myself, who is a black and brown individual, to speak and be able to show them that there's an opportunity that they can be just like me and be able to speak in front of a class and have an authority that's positive and it gives them a new outlook on life.
Do it. I need all the energy in the world.
Arts educators like Almaraz embody the power of culturally reflective arts education.
And 5, and 6, and 5, 6, 7, 8, go.
Such programs take work and close collaboration with local communities. California has dedicated almost $1 billion to arts education this year. Advocates like Kevin Kane are optimistic this money will usher in a new era of arts education in the state, hopefully setting a precedent for the rest of the country. For NPR News, I'm Srishti Prabha in Sacramento.
In many parts of the world, cricket's song is a part of the soundtrack of summer. British researchers have discovered that the way crickets rub their wings together to make that sound is kind of like a dating app for insects.
Tom Tregenza is a professor at the University of Exeter.
Only times when you hear insects singing in your garden, or cicadas, or grasshoppers, or bush crickets, it's almost invariably the males that are singing. And they're almost invariably singing for one reason, which is to try to attract females.
Tregenza says studying cricket courtship is a way of understanding sexy time behavior in other animals.
The tail of the peacock is a classic example of a crazy male trait that doesn't seem to be much use for anything, but they've got it just to try to attract females. And we study crickets because their singing is kind of like an audio example of something like a peacock's tail.
Tregenza and his colleagues have been watching insects in one meadow in Spain for years.
We catch them, we stick a little tag on each one, and then we've got a network of 140 video cameras all over this field, and we observe them all the time. So it's kind of like Big Brother house, but with crickets in it.
And he says millions of hours of video footage reveals that for crickets, it's all about one-upsmanship.
So males are competing with each other to try to get matings with females.
The male crickets sing and female crickets listen.
The females' ears are actually on their legs, so they're not much use for, like, you know, listening for predators, and they don't use them for hunting or anything. They pretty much just use them for finding a mate.
You know, I've always wondered what makes a male cricket sexy.
Why have you wondered that?
I just have. Tregenza says it's all about standing out in the crowd with louder, longer songs.
And that kind of makes sense for females, because a male that sings a lot has got the energy to do a lot of singing, and that suggests that he's a good male. You know, he's got genes that have allowed him to eat enough food to get himself into good condition and do a lot of singing.
Male crickets, they found, also try to outperform each other, and that creates a virtual orchestra of sound. But the cricket chorus comes to a halt if a rival gets a little too close. Coming up tomorrow on Morning Edition, the iconic Hollywood sign towers over Los Angeles. It was created as a promotion for a real estate development. But these days, it's come to mean so much more. To hear the story, listen to NPR on your smartphone or your smart speaker, or turn on the radio. This is NPR News.
The writer Ann Patchett is known for tackling the complexity of family. Her new work deals with a long-ago romance a mother has not shared with her daughters.
A secret is something that you are pointedly not telling someone, but something that's private is just yours.
I'm Mary Louise Kelly, Ann Patchett on her latest novel. On the next All Things Considered from NPR News.
Listen starting at 4 o'clock on 91.7 WVXU. Southbound 75 at Reagan, a wreck on the right shoulder. Traffic slow from the lot from Split. Southbound 71 before Montgomery, a wreck on the right shoulder. Traffic slow from Reagan. Southbound 71 before Reagan, a wreck on the left shoulder.
Support for 91.7 WVXU and 88.5 WMUB comes from listeners like you and from Visit St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, where art lovers can explore over 30 museums like the James Museum of Western and Wildlife Art, plus murals, galleries, and performing arts centers. More at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Dave Mattingly. Russia is blaming Ukraine for a drone crashing into a high-rise building in Moscow today for the second time in 2 days. McCarty Metler lives in the building. He recalls the first incident heard here through a BBC interpreter.
Everything was as normal. We heard a loud bang. There wasn't much, just everyone went outside. Thank God there seemed to be no casualties.
Officials in Kyiv have stopped short of taking responsibility for the attacks. The U.S. takes up the presidency of the UN Security Council today. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, says the U.S. will make food insecurity its top priority for the Security Council. She says Russia's war in Ukraine has only made things worse.
What Russia is doing with its unprovoked war on Ukraine is actually exacerbating the situation. If we look at the number of countries that have been blocked from getting needed food assistance from the Black Sea Grain Initiative.
The ambassador was speaking to NPR's Morning Edition. Moscow recently withdrew from the grain deal brokered by the UN with help from Turkey. That deal allowed safe passage for ships hauling grain and other products from Ukrainian ports along the Black Sea. This is NPR News from Washington.
Good morning. It's 8:32, 64 degrees in Cincinnati. This is 91.7 WVXU. I'm Marianne Zalesnik. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose is asking his opponents in the U.S. Senate primary to contribute $1 million to help fund the campaign to pass Issue 1. It's on the ballot next week and would make it harder to pass future constitutional amendments. Joe Ingles reports.
LaRose is asking State Senator Matt Dolan and businessman Bernie Moreno to each put $1 million into the pro-Issue 1 campaign. Ben Kendall, campaign spokesman for LaRose, says they can afford it.
Somebody with 5 homes and a yacht could definitely contribute more money to that.
Moreno's campaign says he has quietly donated 6 figures to the Issue 1 campaign already, but will match any donations from LaRose dollar for dollar. Kendall says that's fine, but LaRose is not wealthy and has been contributing in sweat equity. Joe Ingles at the Ohio Public Radio State House News Bureau.
The latest plan for a proposed $300 million West End mixed-use development includes an entertainment venue. FC Cincinnati co-CEO Jeff Birding says market analysis shows a 1,500 to 2,000 seat facility north of the stadium would attract more people to Cincinnati.
There's a market opportunity here, and this event center will give us an opportunity to fill that gap while bringing people on a regular basis into our mixed-use development to support some of the retail and other attractions, office, apartments, and other things, the hotel that we're going to be building.
Birding says it could be used for concerts, esports, corporate training, even comedy events. He hopes to break ground by the end of the year. City Council must approve any final plans. Mount Vernon's old middle school, located about 50 miles northeast of Columbus, has sat vacant for more than 2 decades, but not for much longer. An alumni from the school, developer Joel Mazza, is converting the old classrooms into apartment units.
It was in such deplorable condition, the area needed to be regentrified, and there was a real need for housing.
The need for housing in the area has grown since Intel announced it'll be opening a new facility in neighboring Licking County, but renovating old buildings is expensive. Mazza says it's only possible because it's in an opportunity zone and community reinvestment area, both of comes from this station. And from Easy Cater, committed to helping companies find food for meetings and team lunches. With catering menus from restaurants nationwide, online ordering, and 24/7 live support. EasyCater.com. From Indeed, a hiring platform designed to streamline the hiring process. Indeed works to help businesses attract, interview, and hire candidates in one place. More at Indeed.com/NPR. And from the Doris Duke Foundation.
It's Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Layla Falded in Washington, D.C.
Nomi Martinez in Culver City, California. The nation of Kenya has offered to send 1,000 police officers to Haiti and lead a multinational effort to support the Haitian police.
This comes just days after the U.S. State Department ordered most American citizens to leave Haiti after the kidnapping of an American nurse and her daughter. Gang violence has been widespread in Haiti since the country's president was assassinated 2 years ago.
For more on this, we're joined now by Jacqueline Charles, correspondent with Miami Herald. Jacqueline, why has the offer come from Kenya and not Haiti's neighbors, like the U.S. maybe, for example?
Well, the U.S. has said that they do not want to lead a force, even though they support this. They have written a resolution that's been before the UN Security Council now for about 9 months. The U.S. had been hoping that Canada would step up and lead. And though Canada hasn't publicly said no, they also haven't raised their hands. So it's been 9 months since the Haitian government requested international help, a specialized force to come in and to help the Haitian National Police. And we've seen Jamaica said they're willing to help field some sort of multinational force, but again, up until now, no one has said that yes, we will lead it. So this development with Kenya comes after months of discussions and debates at the UN, and Kenya also saying that African nations should take more of a leadership role in helping Haiti address this security humanitarian crisis.
What about the country of Haiti? How are they responding?
Well, whenever you talk about foreign intervention, it's always
Queen Laura.
Oh, Mary Louise.
I'm gonna go there. Here we go. This is Laura. I mean, she does not end up marrying and raising 3 daughters with. I want you to describe the force of nature that is Peter Duke.
Peter Duke is funny and charming, smart, ambitious, in every sense, an actor, and he is going to make it. There's a line in the book she says about summer stock, we were all either on the way up or on the way out, and nobody really knew which way they were going, but Peter Duke was on the way up. And I don't know about you, but I dated some people in my 20s that I would never have wound up with, but they were a lot of fun.
At the end of the book, the very end of the book, we learn that Laura has been keeping a secret, a big secret. She's been keeping it for many years from everyone she loves. And it is such a contrast with her quiet steadiness and with how close we seem to be with her daughters. Why does she keep that secret?
Do you know, it's interesting. I don't think of that as a secret. I think of that as private.
What's the difference?
A secret is something that you are pointedly not telling someone, but something that's private is just yours. It just belongs to you. And something happened to Laura, and it was her own business. She tells the reader, but she doesn't tell her husband, and she doesn't tell her girls, and that's her right.
Ann Patchett, before I let you go, I want to ask about another book by another author, because you have long made a point of helping to raise up other writers. And as you go out on book tour for this book, for your book, Tom Lake, you're bringing along a debut novelist. I want you to give us the 30-second elevator pitch for Lindsay Lynch and her novel, Do Tell.
Lindsay Lynch is the buyer at Parnassus Books.
Parnassus Books, that's your bookstore in Nashville. Go on.
Do Tell is her first novel. It's about the golden age of Hollywood and follows the story of Edie O'Dare, who was an actress, second string, not making it, but a very good gossip columnist. And it's a beautiful thriller. It is wildly entertaining. It's the perfect book for summer, and it shows us that all the progress that we think we have made, we are actually fighting the same fights.
Why do this? Why promote another writer's book on your book tour?
It is so hard to be a first-time novelist, and you want somebody to just give you a hand. She's written this amazing book, but if you can't get publicity for it, if you can't get reviews, if you can't get on the radio, no one's going to know. And so I've got that power. I can either use it for good or for evil, and I'm going to use it for good.
That is the great Ann Patchett talking about a couple of summer reads, including her novel, Tom Lake. Ann Patchett, so good to talk to you.
Thank you, Mary Louise. Have a wonderful summer.
And you.
This is NPR News.
The Hollywood sign that towers over Los Angeles is 100 years old.
I never take it for granted. Driving on Beachwood, and right when it just appears, it gives me chills still.
You dig into the magic of the iconic Hollywood sign with a dispatch from underneath its letters. Tomorrow on Morning Edition, NPR News. Start your Wednesday with Mary Ann Patchett and Morning Edition on 91.7 WVXU.
Sport Guns from St. Vincent de Paul, where neighbors come up and share what they can. St. Vincent de Paul's Veterinary Food Vendors, serving more than 25,000 families across Canada each year. Your support through donation of food and hygiene supplies helps sustain this crucial effort. Find out more at SVPVCincinnati.com.
The ramp from northbound 75 to 129 in Butler County still closed Crystal Red. Southbound 275 before each one
have somehow developed a longer shelf life than a lot of other forms of entertainment.
First, this news.
Live from NPR News in Culver City, California, I'm Dwayne Brown. Russia is blaming Ukraine for drones that attacked the same building in central Moscow for the second time since Sunday. NPR's Joannika Kissis tells us from Kyiv, Russia also claims its forces prevented a drone attack on civilian vessels in the Black Sea.
A top advisor to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says the Russian claims about drone attacks in the Black Sea, quote, do not contain a shred of truth. Speaking to Reuters, Mikhailo Podolyak says Ukraine is not attacking and will not attack any civilian vessels or objects in the Black Sea. But Kyiv has not distanced itself from drone attacks in central Moscow. Podolyak tweeted that the war is moving to the territory of, quote, the authors of war. And Zelensky has said that it's fair that Russians feel the effects of the war their country started. Joannika Kissis, NPR News, Kyiv.
In Oklahoma, plans for the nation's first publicly funded Catholic charter school are being challenged in court by several groups, as Beth Wallace of member station KGOU tells us. Oklahoma's Attorney General is not defending the case.
Oklahoma Attorney General Gentner Drummond has long said he doesn't believe the establishment of St. Isidore Seville Catholic Virtual Charter School is constitutional because of the school's intention to provide religious education.
And that is properly for my office, and we'll use the state taxpayer dollars to fund what would otherwise be a sectarian organization, which is a violation of Oklahoma's Constitution.
Drummond also tried to notify the statewide Virtual Charter School Board before it voted in June that a new board member wasn't eligible to vote yet, but the vote went through, and that new member was the deciding vote, meaning the state's approval of the school may be legitimate. For NPR News in Tulsa, I'm Beth Wallace.
Stocks finished mixed on Wall Street today. The Dow gained 71 points. You're listening to NPR.
Good afternoon. It's 5:33 and 83 degrees in Cincinnati. This is 91.7 WVXU. I'm Bill Reinhardt. A Warren County man is facing federal charges for allegedly breaching the Capitol on January 6th. 36-year-old Dean Harshman was arrested and charged with obstruction and knowingly entering or remaining in a restricted building without lawful authority. The Waynesville man has already made one appearance in federal court in Cincinnati. Both sides in the fight over Ohio's Issue 1 have taken dollars for their campaigns from dark money groups. House correspondent Joe Ingles reports some are calling on lawmakers to make change to campaign finance laws.
Common Cause Ohio's Catherine Torser says campaigns on both sides of Issue 1 have accepted dark money from groups that don't have to make information about their donors public. She says majority Republicans in the legislature need to prioritize passing meaningful campaign finance reform to keep outside special interests from spending secret money to attack the Constitution.
One of the ways to do that is to actually create a much more transparent and robust campaign finance system, which they could start once they get back from their break.
Torser says she'd like to see campaigns disclose donor information, but she says she also understands they won't do that now because it isn't the law. Joe Ingles at the Ohio Public Radio Statehouse News Bureau.
Local Ukrainians say enthusiasm and support in the United States has slowed as the war continues. That's why organizers of this year's Ukrainian festival in Cincinnati are looking to re-energize the community and raise money for hospitals in the Kherson region. Oksana Surgenkova of Cincinnati's Ukrainian National Women's League says while the festival has an important purpose, it'll still be focused on fun to remind people why they supported Ukraine in the first place.
It's not only about war. We have in Cincinnati, we have beautiful German festival. We have beautiful Greek festival. We have amazing Cincinnati and Southern Square for all Latin America. But we have not much from my country, and I want to share with Americans how beautiful it is.
The Ukrainian festival starts at noon this Saturday at the Fleming Road United Church of Christ. A few clouds, a low of 63 tonight, partly cloudy and 86 tomorrow. It's 83 degrees now.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from Organic Valley, a farmer-owned cooperative dedicated to providing ethically sourced food from small organic family farms across the country. Learn more at ov.coop/ethically sourced.
And from Indeed, a hiring platform designed to streamline the hiring process. Indeed works to help businesses attract, interview, and hire candidates in one place. More at Indeed.com/NPR. This is live special coverage from NPR News. I'm Sasha Pfeiffer.
And I'm Elsa Chang. Former President Trump is facing another indictment. And the one that we are learning about this afternoon could be the most significant and perilous of them all.
We are still gathering specific details, but what we do know is that there are 4 counts related to the efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Trump was charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States, witness tampering, and conspiracy against the rights of citizens. Joining me now to talk through what we do know so far are NPR Justice correspondent Carrie Johnson, White House correspondent Franco Ordonez, congressional correspondent Claudia Grisales, and investigative correspondent Tom Dreisbach, all of them with me and Elsa here. Carrie, I want to start with you because these are perhaps the most serious set of allegations against former President Trump so far. Can you detail what we know about what he's being charged with?
We know he's being charged with 4 federal felony crimes, Sasha, and we believe this indictment was handed up just a short while ago at the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., down the street from the United States Capitol, the scene of the crime on January 6th. Donald Trump has already faced indictment for willful retention of national security secrets at his Mar-a-Lago resort, and also from a Manhattan district attorney over alleged hush money payments to the adult film actress Stormy Daniels. But this relates to the effort to stay in power, to cling to power after he lost the 2020 election. And as a result, it's really the most serious case one can imagine against a former president of the United States.
And Carrie, from what we know now about this indictment that we're just learning about, are there other people getting charged in addition to the former president?
Elsa, this is what's so interesting. Donald J. Trump is the lone defendant in these court papers, at least for now. We know the grand jury and the special counsel Jack Smith have been extremely active, interviewing Trump's inner circle, interviewing even the former vice president of the United States, Mike Pence, and many lawyers for Donald Trump and others. So the work does not appear to be done, but these charges against Donald Trump certainly are a milestone in this investigation, which has spanned several years now. And Jack Smith, of course, the special counsel, was only appointed last winter to try to insulate this investigation from politics, in part because Donald Trump, of course, is running again for the White House in 2024.
And Carrie, Trump himself